There is no doubt that spiritual bypassing, ignoring the darkness is a real thing. I love embracing the darkness, the occult, all things mystic, and I'll tell you why. So I'm actually talking about astrology today. I love this path of going from super stressed to fully blessed. And I believe, know in my heart, and have scientifically studied for the past almost 50 years that astrology helps tremendously. It is not an oracle gift. It is the map of the stars, which are eternal personalities, whether we like it or not, and whether we believe it or not. What we know is that earth and water and fire and wood and the substance of our body, our blood, our sweat, and our tears are here just as the moon is in the sky, as the sun is in the sky, and as Venus, Mars, Jupiter, Mercury, Saturn, and yes, the minor planets of Uranus and Pluto and Neptune, even these ideas of the North and South Node as forces of polarity guiding us, they are real. They are real, and the math of it is real. And so I'm actually really excited because after 20 years now of full-time soul mapping matrix mentorship and or soul culture yoga school, leading retreats all over the globe in various countries and continents, as well as just like loving people, because that's my main gig. It's to love, to mirror, and to support your up level and transformation. I am humbly grateful to be reading charts. And charts, to me, seemed kind of like a cheat when I was working with all my intuitive guidance and wisdom and emotional intelligence. But now I see that it is a necessary cheat to go from stressed to blessed. And that is why it is the fulcrum point of my career at this point, which is helping my beloveds. And wow, has there been a response to this? My schedule is full, which feels awesome, exhausting, but awesome, and humbling again. So allow me to share today a little bit of why I am talking about astrology, specifically Asterian astrology, which is a form of very advanced astrology by Jade Soluna, who took the Yavana Jatakas, which were the ancient Hellenistic Greek texts, and Vedic text, fused them or intermingled them together, so adding the Greek and the Vedic Jyotish together, adding Egyptian animal totems. There are 27 nakshatras or stars. There are 27 animal totems. No one human has the same. Even twins are usually, 30 seconds apart, a minute apart, and that can change your birth chart. So I'm not doing a reading today, but I'm actually going to pull the curtain back on myself a little bit. And here's where I just try to slow down, of course, and that's a Mars thing, because I was meditating on how I wanted to share with you today, why I wanted to offer this as vulnerable and as powerful as this is. So, like many people, I have almost left this earth many times. I think ultimately I have a desire inside of me to advance, and I know why that desire is inside of me. According to the Vedic wisdom of Bhakti Yoga, which is my full aspiring path in this lifetime, Vaishnavas, or those aspiring for devotional service to God in this way, are souls. And their jivas are souls that are eternal part and parcels of God. So we are breaking the New Age bypass, and we are totally breaking apart these programmed, conventional new ways of thinking that we are separate from the sun, moon, and the stars, separate from every other soul. But we're not just one. And that is ultimately where the kind of fake neutrality trend exists about spiritual life. So anyway, I've always felt a very strong connection to the collective. Like, I spent many years when I was young in the astral realms. Now, this may sound woo, but my father is a mathematician and engineer. My brother is a full technophile. I'm kind of a technophile too. Engineer, now software programmer, now director of, sales for awesome big companies and people making windmills all over the world and all that kind of awesome stuff. My mother was a French and English literature teacher for many, many years and has her master's in childhood education. So I come from a very educated background, and I myself followed that background. I kind of always had a little bit of a trauma with math because my dad was such an intensely clear, wonderful human being, but very mathematical, and was dealing with his own generational stuff around money, and to call out that because we all know. And my mom was dealing with her stuff around working forever. And so I was already kind of a humble person in a lot of ways, dharmic. I didn't have an external view of myself. I had an internal experience. I would spend a lot of days having really dark thoughts, murderous thoughts, not about hurting people ever, but just past life regressions happening all the time. When I was very young, I'm talking about 7, 8, before bad movies came in, and I'm an 80s kid, so we watched a lot of horror films. I was growing up Jewish. I had an understanding of the Holocaust from a very young age. It was programmed into me, and I had a very strong tie and connection to pain and suffering. I later learned more about the archetypes of Chiron, the wounded healer, Prometheus, all these archetypes of martyrdom. And that was kind of a disturbance in my force, especially when I slept. I had a very hard time sleeping. Like many kids, I saw figures in shadows and had many dreams. But I learned very early on how to start controlling my dreams, how to get out of them, how to work with them. So suffice to say, as I got older, I was quite an overachiever. And I would spend hours and hours and hours using my mind to memorize all the music I was studying and singing, all the plays I was leading roles in. I was also academically ahead. I kind of excelled in culture and history, but got a lot of backlash because I was in the public school system. So I was always embracing controversy with love, and had a lot of older white male teachers or older white female teachers that would clash with me because it was that, that new age Aquarian expression and thinking versus the Prussian education system. And the reason I'm sharing all this is because I went to NYU, I studied theater, I became a classical actor. For the first 30 years of my life, I was working steadily in multiple shows all the time, plus being an admin on the side in the administrative world and corporate world, Wall Street world, specifically in New York City, where I lived for many years until I moved to Los Angeles. And I always was working very hard. I was always very aggressive with making sure I was working and holding up my end, not realizing until my 30s when I started my psychotherapy journey. Well, I started it before that, but really good psychotherapy, spiritual psychotherapy, that I was coming from a place of lack, that I had that not good enough experience going on. And I actually had my first reading on my palm with the beautiful, my godbrother Vidura Das, Vernon Mahalbal, who wrote the book on palmistry, or a really good one on palmistry. And he was able to tell me everything from my palm. And after him, I was given a reading by a very known astrologer in Vrindavan Dham, of course, whose name I cannot remember, Radhe Radhe. My interest wasn't as piqued because actually that was a male devotee bringing me because he wanted to marry me. That's another story. We didn't get married. I love him very much, though, as my godbrother. I then got another reading from a monk who was awesome and is still awesome, my godbrother, who was told by my guru not to give readings anymore, but it was really good, on the rooftop of Gopinath Bhavan. If you're listening, my brother, you know who I'm talking about, who is now married with beautiful family to my godsister. And then I went and got my first reading from Budara Prabhu, Dr. Michael Geary. And that is who I stayed with. Now, I want to give props, of course, to beautiful Bhagavat Maharaj, who always not just dabbles, but helps all the devotees with astrology as well, and the Santa Prabhu. But I really started understanding how the coaching and mentor aspect worked with astrology. The thing is, I thought I was bad at it. I felt I wasn't good at math. I told myself that I wasn't tech-minded, that I'm not really going to look at the math and science of astronomy and add in the cosmology of astrology, because I had this sort of martyrdom idea that I was just going to sweat and work hard and make sure I fully understood everything the way I did from an actor's point of view. And of course, my then next level of astrology ended up being with Jade in 2020. And Jade had taken this very advanced look at astrology, and he'd been doing readings since he was 18, 19 years old. He uses the equal house system, and he added in this Egyptian aspect of the totems. And this was a major turning point, because Jade saw me, and he saw me in a way that while others loved me and saw me, a mentor's role is to hold me in my mistakes. And he did that. He held me in my mistakes. Very logical, very clear, very simple. Now, if you know me, you know that I have a natural way with words. It's a communication asset that I have. I have it because I have the Sun, Mercury, and Venus all in my 9th house of spirituality. I also have the moon in the 12th house. Now, my moon is exalted in Taurus. It's ruled by Venus. It's totally awesome, but it's dark. It can be deep. It's probably the reason why, as a very young yoga teacher, I had elders coming and feeling held. It's probably the reason I'm able to, again, hold and nurture and value the depths of the human psyche and experience, even into illusion, delulu, the dark side, the shadow. I think that healers have to have this, and that's certainly why I created the Soul Culture Yoga School. But it's also my downfall. It's also the place where I like to sleep a lot. It's the place where migraines live. It's the place where I see beyond the veil and it scares the living daylights out of me. It's the part of you that you may see when trees have shapes and faces, when you hear sounds between the veil. The reason I'm sharing is because a long time ago, when I stepped away, without telling the whole story, from my first full spiritual downslide, when I was still an actor, went to Los Angeles and fell deep, deep into the dirges of too many substances, drugs, too much disillusion, from 9/11 to every other veil coming down, the dark night of the soul had consumed me. And when I heard that yoga saves me, get out, go back home and heal, which I did, I also changed spiritual psychotherapists, and I started seeing Sunny. And my dear Sunny Rose was and is an intentional wisdom coach. She had been a Buddhist for so long. She found her teacher, Osho, Sri Bhagwan Rajneesh. She helped build that entire community. And then she was also a psychotherapist, family therapist, and she created and worked with this Gestalt method that was very good for me. That's when I started learning that I was totally all about killing the ego. What I didn't know was that there were two egos. All this talk about ego, all this talk about being happy and blessed and always being spiritually delicious and juicy, that is one end of a spectrum. The other side is the side that Jade was holding me with, which is what you might call the agora side, or the side that deals with death, the side that deals more with moksha or liberation. Now that I know that my moon is in the 12th house, I know that death is a necessary part of my rebirth. And it's why soul mapping mentorship exists. It's why I'm all about the revitalization of the soul. It's literally part of my path. This moment is not just about me and my story. This is about you and your story. It's about you and every other human in the collective that's individually working on revamping their relationship to reality. It's very easy to go into delusion. It doesn't take 8 months of doing hardcore drugs like I did 20 years ago, whenever that was. It doesn't take a second time of falling into addiction. It doesn't take hitting moose with your car like I did, or near-death experiences. Actually, every human is capable of using more of their brain power. And it doesn't actually mean you have to do any ayahuasca or other drugs to get there. How do we know? Because of the saints and sages that have been working this way in the expanded consciousness for millennia. So my work is not just to mirror, because if I'm just to mirror the death, that's one end of the spectrum. If I'm just to mirror the vitality and the resurgence, that's one aspect of it. It's the mess in the middle that I'm interested in. That's how Soul Mapping Matrix came about. That's what I want to teach you today. So we're going from stressed to blessed, yeah? I would say there's a 3-part process to every single transitional moment that you are stuck in, or that you will find yourself in, not knowing how to come out of it, how to move forward. If we stay stuck for too long, it builds up, it heavies up the energetic shielding ability of our subtle body. It can start to deteriorate our brain, literally the material of it. And what to speak of if you have a partner, how that affects your relationship. If you have children, how it affects them. My daughter just is coming out of a 2-day fever. I think that her spiritual power is fevers. She burns. She doesn't always get sick when it happens with other symptoms, but she burns and usually has a growth spurt after. Just like I get migraines, or like my husband goes through what he self-shares as a depressive state. It's all less than it used to be. We've all evolved. We're all very capable people as adults, but it's something I'm going to guide my daughter in and through for the rest of her life. And I want her to know that there are simple ways to work through it. First part is phase 1, assessing the story. In soul mapping, we call it a pillar. What is the pillar? What is the part of your house that is getting punched or kicked or breaking? Where is the foundation going to crack? Sometimes that story is subtle. Sometimes it's very hard to know what's happening, but it's a recurring theme, right? So I'll give you an example. My husband's about to get another job. And by job, I mean either he'll help a startup company for a few years and do all the jobs necessary no matter what, or he'll take another corporate job where he's more in a maybe director role of an established company that's already, gone public and been there, and he knows his job. Whatever that route is, it causes stress for me. Is he going to be traveling? Is our lifestyle going to change? Are we going to fight more? Is there going to be enough money? Like that. Another example may be that I'm building my business again, even though it's been 20 years and I want to keep that going. Am I going to have enough support? Is all that money just going to go to childcare? How are we going to handle the winter? How are things going to happen with my daughter and her homeschooling? Stress in that context, and this is a sidebar, is an expectation that may not be getting met. And that pillar, that story, all that emotional climate, it's not fixed. It's changeable, but it's also repeatable. So what would I do? I'd ask myself, where in my body do I feel this? I feel it in my heart. You can do this too. Feel in your body where you're feeling the tension or the stress. You got it? Place your hands there on your body and fill it with breath. Inhale. Exhale. Inhale. Exhale. Inhale. Exhale. Then ask yourself one word to address that feeling. Insecurity. Insecurity, okay. Fear of the unknown. So I have assessed where in my body I am feeling that stress, and I've given it a name, insecurity. Great. Step 2, pivoting in the portal. Every stress also shows a hidden desire that we have not connected to. And desire is sacred. Desire is about your soul. We have Dharma, Artha, Kam, and Moksha. Everyone is run by wisdom or purpose, money and financial wealth, desire, which could be just romantic or creative, as well as a liberation or a freedom aspect spiritually of where we're going. So desire is there, and if we don't address it, it's very fickle and it will take us over. Okay. Ask yourself, what are you longing for underneath that insecurity? Even go back to your heart, go back to your breath. What am I longing for underneath that security? Now here's a physical moment that you could do in your mind's eye. Sometimes we light sage or a candle or incense. Sometimes we spray perfume. I want you to go to that place in your body. For me, it's my heart right now. And I want you to imagine it as an open space, wherever you want, a cave, a basement, or maybe it's just the element of space. I want you to light that stick of incense and hold it up and clear it. And more than clear it, I want you to do arti, or full expression of wish. Like I am looking at my beloved and I'm lighting the candle and I'm inspecting the body of that insecurity like it's my child. I'm inspecting and looking for any cut or bruise or hair out of place. And I'm hoping that the heat and light of the incense or sage clears them. Maybe a flower, maybe a candle. Doing that and looking at your beloved and saying, what do I long for under that tension, under that insecurity, whatever you've named it? And then place some flowers at the feet of it. Offer it a little bit of a, you might call it altar. And fill it with color and fill it with warmth or light, or maybe it needs to cool down. Maybe it needs a bath. Maybe it just needs some breath. Offer it. And then give that back to your own body, mind, heart, my heart, your heart. Fill it up. Notice the colors. See the purples, pinks, whites, maybe the blues. See gold or silver or white. Just go back and fill it. Breathe into that. Breathe into it and then just send the energy down towards your legs and feet. Draw the energy up towards your throat and neck and head so that you're fully feeling the entire body filled with that essential yummy love. Okay? Name that. Grace. Let's say it's grace. Okay. Number 3. Number 3 is about transmuting now, fully integrating a new choice. It's about choice. Energy, even stress, becomes creation the moment you choose to do so. Choice is wielding your free will, right? You're astrology chart is not free will. It is energy that's moving, being wielded towards you. It is a map that already exists. What you do with it, that's up to you. That's what we always say. So small actions in the soul mapping realm make very big changes over a timeline. That's why mentorship for you most likely is over a period of time. It doesn't happen in one moment, although it's ecstatic, at least for my clients, in that one session. We want to make it stick, even going to the darkness. So number 3 is choice. I want you to invite one micro movement into the moment right now. Okay, so you've shifted in the portal. You know and assessed the pillar was insecurity in your heart. You filled it up. You've given it arty. You've lit up. And now what are you going to do with it? Dance. I mean, literally dance. Shake your booty. Shake your hip. Dance. Put it in your hips. Put it in your belly. Move your feet. Be crazy. Be silly in your neck. If you have a bad neck, be mindful. But like, get it in there. That is a micro choice that could change the rest of your day. Stress is energy looping inside of you. Instead of creating, that energy gets stuck. It causes discomfort. It discredits the work you did before. And it shows you that stress, that negativity, that darkness. It will show you where the loop exists inside of your body. And then your awareness of it shifting towards your higher desire and choosing a physical experience. Yoga, dance. When you can swim, you swim. But when it's cold in winter, you got to move your body on your own. That's why we have yoga, right? It sets it free. It literally sets you free. So, getting to know myself, getting to know my chart. It's been 5 years of studying that, but it's been a lifetime getting ready to offer it to others. It's a never-ending science, and it absolutely proved to me that boundaries and beauty are necessary. They don't exist without each other. You know, and I doubted myself. I fully thought I wasn't good enough. I definitely go back into those deep, dark states over and over again. And if it wasn't for seeing, hearing, and feeling my chart, studying it for years and years, understanding, the sun is where I'm expressing, but the moon is where I'm feeling, I wouldn't have understood that the medicine was actually my own wisdom, that my own sovereignty and independence was absolutely always there. I have a guru, I have a spiritual practice, I have teachers. I also have the generational trauma that has to heal. And it's like the north and south node of those two places, of all the love coming to me and the people who want me to do well. On the other side of that is always going to be the people who want to control me, the people who want something for me, even if it's good. It's still a desire for me to act a certain way. Soul mapping has helped me practice pivoting in the portal so that I remember my own desire. But astrology has been so pivotal for me to understand how these 3 steps, the awareness, the pivoting in the portal, and the choice, directly relates to having boundaries and beauty at all times. Sun, Mercury, Venus literally means that the beauty, the Venusian aspect of life, and the way I think and communicate is expressed solely through the 9th house, which is all about spirituality. And because of that, the Asterian chart helps me realize what invisible archetypes I'm truly being led on. I'm truly embodying because of my relationship with this eternal personality of the sun, the moon, the stars, Venus, Mars. And because I know that Mars runs through my chart pretty much in my first house and all the way through, especially in my animal totems, and I know there's this like lion-like quality in this cobra thing going on with my head, I know that my medicine is in both knowing intuitively wisdom as well as feeling intuitively wisdom, but I communicate it in a beautiful way. It has to be that way. Otherwise, Mars activates and I rage, I drill. The cobra has an ability to communicate as well as bite, hiss. The lion can roar and kill. There's opposite in everything. And so the same with family. Every team, every family is going to have its fun going out, soccer games, parties, money, juiciness. When things are good, things are good. But when you're locked down for whatever reason, no money or sickness, fever, migraine, you're locked down and it's not fun. I want to choose peace over performance. That is my work, to choose peace over performance. I know how to do that now because the Asterian astrology is showing me why I do what I do, why I'm obsessed with what I'm obsessed with. And that birth chart doesn't change, although the transits change, although there's always a planet that's possibly running through where I was born, the placements, the signs, the houses. So Jyotish is real. And the tropical understanding from a perspective of where you are right now in your country, in your land, in the sky, that's real. The personalities are real. But going deeper in understanding this next level of the Egyptian animals, mind-blowing. I had no idea. And I'm so excited and happy to offer it. So, it's not fortune telling. It is truly a pattern recognition. And my wish for you is the same. I wish for you clarity. I wish for you flow. I wish for you love. Love in action. Love in soft invitations to yourself, soft invitations to your loved ones, soft invitations to embrace controversy with love, because it is the mess in the middle. It's the mess in the middle that will always come back at us, no matter what the external circumstances are showing up as, no matter what religion you're following, no matter who your guru is. You're going to be tested. You're going to be tested by God. You're going to be tested by the planets. It's really nice to see how all those archetypes play out and to have a mathematical, scientific map in front of you. It's really fun. May you see your patterns clearly, pivot in the portal with as much grace as possible, and make really bold, courageous choices that come from a place of knowing in your mind and in your heart. I love you. I'll see you soon. Radhe Radhe. Vanchakalpatarubhyascha kripa sindubhya evacha patitanam pavanebhyo Vaishnavebhyo namo namaha. Radhe Radhe. Peace.